Hey everybody, sorry I am a little late. I was gonna get on at 2 o'clock and start doing this live broadcast about sexually transmitted infections, but I was having some computer difficulties. Anybody who works with me knows I have an old computer, and it turns out when I tried to do Zoom, when I tried to use Zoom to go live, my computer's too old. It doesn't allow that. And then I tried to just go live through my computer because I thought it'd be easier than doing it on my phone. And my computer's so old that I can't even go live on my computer. So hopefully I get a new one soon. I've been begging and pleading for one for a while, and hopefully it happens because it's kind of annoying. But anyways, today we are going to talk all about sexually transmitted infections. Originally I was going to, share my screen. We could have this PowerPoint we can go through. And all, we could do these games, learn some great information. Unfortunately, though, again, I do not have those capabilities. So I think we're still going to play the game. It's called Myths versus Facts. And so I'm going to read off a myth, or I'm going to read off a statement, and you can tell me if it's a myth or fact. Obviously, I know we're live, so it is hard to... It might be hard to respond. If you want to type in the comments whether you think it's a myth or a fact, feel free. If you just want to play along at home, also totally fine choice. And then I'll give you guys some information about the myths and facts as we go through them. So the first one, AIDS is a medical condition. Oh, maybe I can turn my camera around and we can do it that way. Boom. Yeah, that kind of works. So AIDS is a medical condition in which your body cannot fight off diseases. Is this a myth or a fact? I'm going to give you about 5 seconds to answer it. So if you said it's a fact, you're right. So AIDS is a medical condition in which your body cannot fight off diseases. AIDS is caused by HIV, the human immunodeficiency virus. And it's a virus that enters your body, attacks your immune system, makes it deficient. Human immunodeficiency virus, the virus makes the human immune system deficient. Once your body reaches, once HIV does a certain amount of damage to your immune system, and your immune cells fall below a certain point, you're considered to have AIDS, or acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. And so, once you get AIDS, your body has a much harder time fighting off diseases. However, we do have amazing medication nowadays that prevents a lot of people from getting to the AIDS stage as long as they get tested and find out their status and take their medication correctly. So hopefully you guys got that one right. AIDS is caused by a virus. What do you guys think? That's right. It's a fact. Like I just said, AIDS is caused by HIV, the human immunodeficiency virus. And so yeah, AIDS is caused by a virus. If you hug someone with an STI, you can get that STI. What do y'all think? It's a myth. Yeah, you're not going to get an STI just by hugging someone who has the STI. No, I mean, you got to do some hardcore naked hugging in order to get STIs. Again, they're sexually transmitted infections. So most of them are transmitted through some sort of sexual fluid or sexual act that is done with people. Anyone can get an STI. What do y'all think? Definitely. Anyone can get an STI. It doesn't matter your age, your race, your sex, your gender. It's not who you are that puts you at risk for getting an STI. It's what you do. Do you have multiple overlapping sex partners where you're not using condoms? Do you not get tested? Do you not talk to your partner about testing? Things like that all put you at a higher risk for contracting STIs. AIDS can be cured. Myth. So unfortunately right now there's still no, this answer is actually kind of complicated. So right now, there are no cures for HIV, the human immunodeficiency virus. So if you get the virus, there's no way you can get rid of it by taking medications. AIDS, the syndrome, technically, once you get it, you can't get rid of it. But if you take your medication every single day, your immune cells will come back, and you can even become undetectable. So even though you're still considered to have AIDS, you technically, physically won't have it because you won't be meeting the specific criteria of having your immune cells below a certain point. So this answer is a little bit tricky, but technically there is no cure for HIV or AIDS. STIs can be spread by using someone's personal belongings, such as a comb or a hairbrush. Yep, it's a myth. Even if there were like semen on your comb or your hairbrush, you're not going to get HIV or any STIs that way. Again, it has to get into your body somehow. And so if like sperm gets in your hair or something, you're not going to get STIs that way. If a pregnant person is HIV positive, there's a chance the virus can be passed on to their unborn baby. That's definitely a fact. If you are pregnant and you don't know that whether or not you have HIV, it can be passed on to your unborn baby. However, when you get pregnant in New York State, you are encouraged to take STI testing, including HIV tests. I believe it's every trimester. So every few months, they are encouraging you to get tested so that you can know your status. Not only are we concerned about HIV being transmitted to an unborn fetus, we are also concerned about other viruses. So like gonorrhea or chlamydia. If you have gonorrhea or chlamydia when you're giving birth, there's a high chance that it could be passed on to your baby through the vaginal canal. So we definitely want people to be getting tested during pregnancy so that we can make sure that we are treating any STIs we have and avoiding spreading it to our unborn fetus or the baby when it's coming out. Also, if you do have HIV, you are able to take medication to prevent HIV from infecting your fetus, which is really, really awesome. So New York State has gone several years without any babies being born with HIV, even if their mother has HIV. This is not only a great thing for babies being born HIV negative, it's also a really great thing for women who are HIV positive. It allows them to kind of take control of their life, still be able to do all these normal things like have a baby, have relationships, things like that, even though they do have to manage their HIV. Hey, Brooke, I'm happy we're doing this too. All right, the next question. You increase your chances of getting an STI if you have sex with many people. That's a fact. So I'm not here to slut shame anybody. If you want to have sex with a bunch of people, live your life. You do you, but you do have to make sure you're taking precautions. The more people you have sex with, the more likely it is that one of them will have an STI. It's just luck of the draw. So if you are having sex with multiple partners, you want to make sure that you're wearing condoms every single time, you're getting tested much more frequently, and you're talking to your partner about whether or not they've been tested and things like that. All those things can really decrease your chances of getting STIs. However, monogamy is also a really great way to decrease your chances of getting STIs. Monogamy is where you have sex with just one person and they have sex with only you. And so if the two of you both get tested, both know your status, and both are negative, you're not going to transmit it to each other because you don't have anything to transmit. This does sometimes not work, though, because maybe one of y'all steps out on the other person, cheats on them, brings an STI into that relationship. So you really do have to be monogamous. All right, next one. HIV is mainly present in these 5 fluids: semen, blood, vaginal secretions, rectal fluids, and breast milk. What do y'all think? That's right, it's a fact. So HIV is present in our immune cells, and immune cells are found in all of these different things. Semen has immune cells in it. Blood obviously has immune cells in it. Vaginal secretions, rectal fluids. Rectal fluids, which a lot of people don't know about, are these fluids that's like a mucous membrane almost that covers your anus, and it's full of immune cells. Oh, I forgot the word. It's full of immune cells because it actually prevents your anal cavity from getting infected with other bacteria and viruses that might be present in your feces. So rectal fluid is actually really, really important for our anal health, but it can, because it has immune cells, have HIV in it too. And then breast milk. Breast milk, babies when they're breastfeeding, they're getting their immune system from the mother. So if the mother's immune system is compromised with HIV, there is a high chance that it could be spread to their baby. If you are HIV positive, again, you take medication to make sure this doesn't happen, but we also encourage HIV positive women to just not breastfeed. Use formula. Formula is it's just as good as breastfeeding. Some people say it's not, but most science, most facts that I've read show that there's not really a huge change between babies who are breastfed or babies who are fed through formula. It's your personal choice as a woman which one you want to do with your child. All right, how about the next one? You can get HIV or you can get herpes from a toilet seat. What do you think? Can you get herpes from a toilet seat? This one's a common one that I hear a lot. And the answer is no. You cannot get herpes from a toilet seat. So herpes is a virus, and the virus only lives outside the body for a very short period of time. Most viruses do. Some viruses can live outside the body for much longer. Hepatitis is the one that jumps to mind when I think about that. Hepatitis has been shown to live outside the body for months. Herpes, though, does not. So herpes, once it goes onto the toilet seat, the chances of you sitting on the toilet seat and then getting that virus, very, very low. You have to really come in direct contact with a herpes sore onto a part of your body that has this kind of special tissue that can contract it. So like you can't contract really herpes on your hand, but you can get on your lips and your genitals because of this special tissue. Not all of our skin is created equally. Our skin's different, like our eyelids are different than our ears, things like that. So there's certain tissue that can be infected with herpes, but not from toilet seats. Toilet seats, though, can still be nasty as hell. So put like some toilet paper down, put a seat protector on there. You don't want to get one of them like butt funguses, but you're not going to get herpes or crabs or really any STI from a toilet seat. All right, let's check out this next one. You can use a condom more than once. Take it off, wash it out, put it back on. What do y'all think? Can we use condoms more than once? Definitely not. I don't even know how you would do that. Like, it's really hard to put a condom on once you unroll it. So I can't really imagine you being able to wash it out, put it back on. Now, there are internal condoms. Sometimes they're called female condoms. They're actually technically called female condoms. It's like their name, FC2s. And these ones are easier to reuse, but you should still not reuse them. They will, the more, so if you reuse them, there's a higher chance that they're going to break. Plus, depending on like who you're reusing them with, there's a high chance that like if they're with different people, that the sperm that was inside of it could be transferred to the person who's now using it. And so definitely don't ever reuse condoms. All you gotta do is use them once, throw it out, get a new one. If you're worried about paying for them, Planned Parenthood, come to us. We will hook you up. We have FC2s. We have external condoms or male condoms that go on the penis or object of insertion. We have flavored condoms. Sometimes we have textured condoms. We have latex-free condoms, all sorts of stuff. So if you need condoms, if you're worried about paying for them, hit us up. We're here for you. But never, ever, 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 ever reuse a condom. It's just really, really dangerous. All right, how about this next one? Baby oil is a good lubricant for sex while using a condom. What do y'all think? Should we use baby oil with our condoms? No, we should not. There's a few reasons why using baby oil with condoms is a bad idea. The first and major reason is that oil breaks down latex. So if you're using baby oil on your condom, there's a really, really high chance your condom is going to break when you're having sex. So definitely don't. I used to do this experiment in schools where I would blow up a condom, put some baby oil on it and rub it, and in a couple seconds it would pop. I stopped doing that experiment after a few times because I kept getting baby oil on my clothes, and baby oil is hell to get out of clothes. So I don't do that experiment anymore, but if you Google it, you can find like YouTube videos showing people how quickly condoms break with baby oil or any sort of oil on it. Another reason why you shouldn't be using oil in general with sex is because oil can trap bacteria. So if you're like having vaginal sex or anal sex and you're using oil, that oil can trap bacteria inside those parts of the body and lead to infections. And right, we don't want infections in our sexual organs. So don't use oil. Use like a regular water-based lubricant or silicone-based lubricants. They have special like all natural organic lubricants you can use. They have lubricants that balance vaginal pHs. They have lubricants specifically designed for anal sex. So again, definitely just use like regular store-bought lubricant, or come to Planned Parenthood. We got it. We have a lot of ID Glide, which is a really awesome form of lubrication that works great for anal and vaginal sex. We also have, I can't remember the brand name is, but it's one of those like organic ones that are really great for vaginal sex. We don't have a ton of it, but if you hit us up, we can probably find you some. So yeah, but don't use baby oil. Water-based lubricants, silicone-based lubricants, a hybrid silicone water-based, really, really great. Oil, not so great. All right, next one. All right, people with vaginas who have sex only with people with vaginas don't have to worry about HIV infections. What do we think? These people, some people might call them lesbians, but I don't want to identify anybody, so they can identify themselves. But if you're only having sex with someone with a vagina, do you have to worry about HIV infections? Definitely, you still got to worry about them. So it's a myth. So people often think that lesbians, or however you want to identify, if you're a woman having sex with another woman, or a person with a vagina having sex with another vagina, you don't have to worry about STIs as much. But that's complete BS. You can get HIV from oral sex. So putting your mouth on someone's vagina can transmit vaginal fluids into your mouth and cause you to get HIV or other STIs. Also, sharing toys can transmit HIV and other STIs. Grinding on each other, if you're like rubbing your vaginas against each other, that can transmit STIs. It's in vaginal fluids. So whenever someone with a vagina, is horny or having sex or things like that, their fluids are flowing. If those fluids get inside your other sexual partner, there's a chance that person could get whatever STIs you have. So even if you are just having vaginal sex with a vagina sex with another person with a vagina, still make sure you're using protection. Dental dams, really great option. If you're using a toy like a dildo or something, condoms, really great to put on top of your dildo, just to make sure you're not spreading any fluids back and forth. All right, next one. An HIV-infected person can infect their child through breastfeeding. We kind of talked about this, right? What are the 5 fluids? Is breast milk one of the 5 fluids? It is. It's a fact. So again, if you have HIV, we don't encourage breastfeeding. You can breastfeed. Definitely gotta make sure you're taking your medication and things like that. But better safe than sorry. Probably better just to use formula. And again, formula, totally fine. Don't believe the hype. If you want to use formula, use formula. Most scientific studies show there's no difference in child development between formula and breastfeeding. But also, if you want to breastfeed, great way to bond. But live your life. Do what you want to do. All right, next one. Birth control pills can prevent the transmission of HIV. What do we think? Can birth control pills prevent the transmission of HIV? No, they cannot. But PrEP can. So, first off, birth control pills do not prevent anything besides for pregnancy. The way they work is through hormones that affect a woman's uterus, stops a woman's uterus from ovulating an egg into the fallopian tubes. That's all it does. So it's not going to prevent you from STIs. The only form of birth control that prevents you from STIs is a condom. So definitely use a condom every time you're having sex, especially if you don't know your partner's status. If you're worried about HIV, there is a pill you can take called PrEP. PrEP is a pill you take once a day. It stands for pre-exposure prophylactic. So it's something you take before you've been exposed, and it protects you from getting HIV. If you take this pill every single day, it is like 99% effective. All the studies I've read show that people who use their pills correctly and have a certain level of the medication in their body are not at risk for getting HIV. Anybody who has contracted HIV while taking PrEP, it was either because they were not taking their pills correctly, or they they contracted a form of HIV that was like really resistant to the medication because the person they're having sex with weren't taking their HIV medication correctly. So if you don't take your HIV medication correctly and you have HIV, like if you skip doses all the time and things like that, your HIV can actually learn to become more resistant to the medication. So you want to make sure if you are HIV positive, you're taking your medication every single day like your doctor prescribes, or else your HIV can learn to become resistant to this medication, and then they'll have to figure out a stronger medication to put you on. Also, it can make it easier to transmit it to your partner, even if your partner is using PrEP, because again, your HIV has learned kind of how to fight off and become more resilient to this medication. So definitely Still though, PrEP, really, really great option. If you're worried about getting HIV, take PrEP. It's super effective. Not very many side effects. Mostly there's like, some people complain about stomach issues for the first month or so, but really, really, really effective. And we offer it at Planned Parenthood. So if you're looking for PrEP, Planned Parenthood, all of our locations, we offer it. It's really, really awesome. If you're worried about paying for it, there are certain prescriptions, things you can go online and find. I can't remember what the name of it is right now, but there is like a prescription service you can use that gets you a discount on your PrEP. So use it if you're worried about getting HIV. All right, on to the next. What did Rosie say? Rosie, I don't have my headphones at work, so I don't know what you're saying. Oh, I'm sorry, but it's really good. You can read this part. Monogamy is 100% safe. So we talked about monogamy already a little bit. Monogamy is where you're just having sex with one person and they're only having sex with you. Is that 100% safe? It's not. So really, nothing is 100% safe. If you're having sex of any kind, there's obviously a chance you can get HIV or STIs. If you're having heterosexual sex, there's a chance you can get pregnant, no matter what. But monogamy is really, really effective if you do a few things beforehand. So again, monogamy is like a relationship where you and your partner are only having sex with each other. Again, you guys actually have to be only having sex with each other. None of this like lying, fooling around, cheating on each other stuff. And two, you have to make sure that you get tested before you start practicing monogamy. A lot of times people just like assume they don't have an STI, but there's no way to know if you have an STI unless you get tested. So make sure you come to Planned Parenthood, you get tested, make it a date if you want to. Like if you and your partner, you know, maybe you already started having sex or you haven't started having sex, either way, come to Planned Parenthood together, go get tested, find out your status at the same time, and then you guys like just know, cool, we're safe. Go out to dinner afterwards. If you go to our West Seneca clinic, there's a nice little Chinese place next door. There's a bowling alley. You can make it a whole date night. Niagara Falls too, plenty of stuff to do around our clinic. Buffalo Clinic, on Main Street, tons of stuff to do on Main Street and Hurdle. Our clinic in Tonawanda right on the canal. You can do a nice little walk, romantic picnic, go to Crazy Jake's, whatever you want. But come to Planned Parenthood, come together, get tested, know your status together, and then your monogamy will be so much safer. If you are practicing monogamy, again, I can't tell you how to live your life. If you don't want to use condoms in your monogamous relationship, that's your choice, but make sure you get tested beforehand. If you haven't gotten tested yet, though, please, please, please continue using condoms until you both get tested and you both know that you're STI negative. All right, next one. If you kiss someone with HIV, you will get the virus. So can you get the virus from kissing someone? Think about it. Was saliva one of those 5 fluids we talked about? It's a myth. You cannot get HIV just from kissing someone. It's actually not incredibly easy to get HIV. It doesn't last in the air very long at all. So it dies pretty much as soon as it leaves the body. It's not in saliva. So kissing someone, you're not going to get it. Even if like you just brushed your teeth, right? And like you spit and there's like blood in the sink, there's a chance you could spread it to your sexual partner. But the chance is like so minuscule that we don't even really concern ourselves with it. So don't go worry about kissing anybody. You're not gonna like get it from, not gonna like, if you have HIV, you're not gonna give it to like Nana or anything. No worries about that. So next one. All right, having unprotected sex with someone who is HIV positive is one way of getting HIV. Definitely. Having sex with someone who's HIV positive is the #1 way people get HIV. You can also get HIV from injecting drugs through, sharing needles and things like that. But having sex, #1 way people get HIV. So definitely use protection until you know your partner's status. Condoms, super, super, super effective. I don't care what people say. They're like 98% effective if you store them correctly and use them correctly. Actually, let's talk about condoms for a minute. So, dudes mess up using condoms all the time. Let's do some real talk. So a couple things that guys do that mess up using condoms. One, we don't store them correctly. So many people I talk to have a condom in their wallet just so they're ready whenever. You don't need to be ready whenever. Rarely ever is someone just like, hey, you want to have sex on the street right now? And do you need a condom? So don't carry a condom in your wallet. Most of the time we know in advance whether or not we're going to have sex and we can plan accordingly. If you are going to your partner's house and you're like, oh yeah, we're probably going to smash, bring a condom with you. Totally fine to do that. keep it in your front pockets, not your back pocket. And keep it away from your cell phone and your keys. Your keys can, like jagged, right? They can poke a hole in your condom. Your cell phone can get a little hot, and heat can deteriorate the condom's latex a little bit. So keep it front pocket by itself. Bring it to your partner's house. If you guys have sex, use it. If you don't have sex, bring it home. Put it back where you keep your condoms. And then where do we keep our condoms at home? A good place to keep our condoms at home is near where we're going to be having sex. Most people... I'm not going to say like everybody, right? But a lot of people, we have sex in our bedrooms, on our beds, or, around our beds. And so keep your condoms there. Not under the mattress. If you're having sex, right, and your condoms are under the mattress, you're going to have to like ask your partner, hey, can you get off the bed real quick so I can get my condoms? So not a good idea. A drawer, so a bedside drawer next to your a bedside drawer next to your bed, obviously, is a great place to keep your condoms. Things like that. I also would recommend putting them inside another box. So if you put them inside your bedside drawer, put them inside another box, like a Tupperware container, a shoe box, something like that, so that when you throw, like maybe throw scissors in there, keys, nail clippers, a nail file, whatever, there's a little extra protection for your condoms from the world. Don't store them in the bathroom. Bathroom gets really hot and steamy, not a good place to store it. Don't leave them in your car. In the summertime, your car gets really hot, messes them up. In the wintertime, it gets really cold, messes them up. Keep them in your bedroom near where you're going to be having sex. Store your condoms correctly. Don't carry in your wallet. The second thing guys do that mess up their condom use is that we don't wear the right size. Every single dude I talk to, no matter what, not no matter what, but almost every single guy I talk to, without fail, always is like, yo man, I need the magnums, give me that golden ticket, blah, 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 I got a huge penis. You don't. Most people do not have a magnum-sized penis. Like, honestly, if everybody had magnum-sized penises, we would just make magnum-sized condoms, not regular-sized condoms. So, make sure you find out what condom fits you the best. If you do have a magnum-sized penis, wear a magnum-sized condom. That's fine. But if you don't, the condom is probably going to fall off, which makes it ineffective, right? Or because there's so much fabric on the side, there's so much like latex on the side, it rubs against the shaft of your penis a lot, causing more friction, which causes the condom to break. So using the wrong size condom really, really increases your chances of it falling off or breaking, being ineffective, and contracting an STI or getting someone pregnant if you're having heterosexual sex. So wear the right size condom. Try them on. I always recommend, if you masturbate, try on condoms when you masturbate. Come to Planned Parenthood, get some free condoms, Magnums, Trojans, Lifestyles, Kings, get them all. Try them all on when you're masturbating, and then you'll find out which one fits you the best. Second best thing about wearing condoms when you're masturbating is that not only do you know which one fits you the best, you also become used to wearing condoms, and so you won't be so nervous when you're having sex. Something that happens to guys when we put on condoms is we get nervous as we're doing it. And so when we get nervous, our erections go away. And then we get more nervous about our erections going away. And it's kind of like this vicious cycle where we can't get an erection. And then we can't have sex. And so I know a lot of guys who don't wear condoms because of that. But if you practice at home, if you put your condoms on at home when you're masturbating and you get really used to the way they feel on your penis, really used to opening up and sliding them on, you're much, much less likely to become nervous while you're about to have sex and lose your erection. So I really, really recommend. Practice makes perfect. Try on your condoms. Figure out which one fits you the best. Get used to wearing them. That way you just don't think about it as much when you're going to have sex. All right. Enough about condoms. Well, never enough about condoms, but let's move on. You can get HIV by sharing needles with someone who's infected. We already talked about this, right? Yes, you can get HIV from sharing needles. HIV is the second most likely way you're going to get HIV. Sorry, my partner just came out and he's making some noise. The second most popular way, or not popular, the second most common way people get HIV is through sharing needles for injection drug use. Now, this is usually for injection drug use like heroin, crack, cocaine, things like that. But it can be even just from sharing needles for, sharing needles for things like diabetes medications. If you're trans and you're sharing needles for hormone injections, things like this. So never, ever, ever share needles. It's really, really dangerous. If you live in Buffalo or the surrounding areas, there's a great place you can go called Evergreen Health Services, and they do a free needle exchange. They call it an exchange, which makes it sound like you have to bring in old needles to exchange, but you actually don't. You can just walk in, get clean needles, no questions asked. They don't care if you're shooting up drugs or if you're shooting, diabetes medications. Our health system is whack. And so we need, sometimes we need free needles, even if we're not doing drugs. Go to Evergreen Health Services. They are really, really great with this kind of service. They're really, really understanding. I cannot say enough good things about them. So hit them up if you need clean needles. All right, next question. Injection drug users are at a higher risk for HIV. Definitely right. You can't get an STI from anal sex. What do y'all think? Can you get STIs from anal sex? Definitely. We talked about how rectal fluid is one of the 5 fluids that transmit HIV. B, like anal sex is sex, right? So why, like, there's nothing magical about your butt that's going to stop you from getting an STI. You can't get pregnant from anal sex, but that's all have to do with like anatomy and where the uterus is. But you can definitely get STIs. Like if you're having penis inside the anus or butt sex, and your partner has an STI and they, ejaculate their semen into your butt, they are gonna, like, it's gonna be inside your body, right? And vice versa. If you have an STI and you have anal sex, there could be tearing causing blood to mix with rectal fluids and lube and other things that can transmit STIs into your partner's body. So anal sex, not gonna get pregnant, but you can still get STIs. All right, almost done, y'all. Unprotected oral sex. Your mouth on your partner's penis, vagina, or anus increases a person's chances of getting HIV. So blowjobs, eating someone out, things like that. Does it increase chances of getting HIV? Definitely. And now, so this one kind of also needs a little explanation. Any sort of unprotected sex increases your chances of getting STIs. However, oral sex is a lower risk sexual contact. So although it does increase your chance, if you don't wear a condom when you're getting a blowjob, or you don't put a dental dam on the vagina or anus when someone's like, eating you out, there is a higher chance that anything you have would be passed on to your partner. But it's lower risk than penis and vagina or penis and anus sex. If you are performing a blowjob, if you're putting your mouth on someone's penis, don't let them ejaculate in your mouth if you don't know their status. Because the ejaculate is really where the most of the STIs are. There is STIs in pre-cum. If your partner has an STI, they might be in the pre-cum, but they're really, really, really going to be in the semen and the ejaculate. So don't let them ejaculate in your mouth. If they do, spit it out. Don't swallow it. Again, the more it gets into your system, the more likely it is that anything they have will be transmitted to you. All right, next question. This is the last one. Abstinence is the only way of preventing the sexual transmission of HIV 100% of the time. What do y'all think? Abstinence, not doing it. Remember, sexual transmission, so yes. Fact. If you are not having sex, you're not going to get an STI or HIV from sex, right? Now, there are still other ways you could get them through, being born with it, passing out your mother baby, injection drug use, things like that. But you're not going to get it from sex if you're not having sex. However, if you're practicing abstinence, which is a really, really great thing to do, if you don't want to have sex yet, don't have sex. You have plenty of time to wait to have sex. Live your life. But you have to actually be practicing abstinence, right? So you can't be like, I'm abstinent like today, but I wasn't yesterday. You got to really be abstinent 100% of the time in order to make sure that it's effective. If you ever don't want to be abstinent, though, also that's totally fine. You can choose whenever you want to have sex, as long as you get consent from your sexual partners. And you can just, make sure you wear a condom. If you're heterosexual, make sure you or your partner's on birth control, things like that. Abstinence can be really, really effective. All right, that was the last one. We've been doing this for about a half hour, so I think I'm probably going to call it a day unless anybody has any questions before I go about STIs or anything else. Some stats about STIs before I go, I guess I can tell you. 30,000 teens in New York State, ages 15 to 19, are diagnosed with chlamydia every year, just chlamydia. 61% of students in New York State in Buffalo, report having sex before graduating high school. It's actually higher than the national average. National average is much closer to 50% of students having sex before graduating. But in Buffalo, we have a higher rate of teen sexual activity. I don't know why. Most New Yorkers believe that condoms should be available in schools, and more schools are having condoms available in them. Buffalo Public Schools have had condoms available in them for, I think, 4 or 5 years. All you gotta do is go to your nurse. Every charter school I've taught at has condoms available through their nurses. Niagara Falls High School has condoms, I think, through the nurse. Lynn would know much better than I do, but I'm pretty sure they have condoms through the nurse. And that's why we do BPR to be responsible there. And more suburban schools are getting them. Not all of them. I've been working with Depew High School to get condoms in there, but I don't know if that's actually happened yet. New York State does make you jump through some hoops, so there's that. And then so from the most recent youth risk behavior survey from Buffalo, there was an increased number of teens who did not use condoms during their last sexual intercourse, which is kind of annoying because me and my coworkers have been going to these high schools and telling them the importance of using condoms, and they have condoms in their high schools now, and yet still they don't want to use them. And I think a lot of that has to do with like pop culture and how like not using condoms is like normalized. It's in songs about like hitting it raw, things like that. And so I think it's really important. Me and my coworkers can do like a lot, but we can't do everything. And so we really have to just make condom use much more normalized in order to make sure that people use them. 80% of teens didn't use birth control pills or Depo-Vera before their last intercourse. Now this one is a really bit funny of a stat because of the way the question was worded. It specifically asked about birth control pills or Depo-Vera. But we know that teens use all sorts of different forms of birth control. Condoms, the implant, the IUD, the patch, the ring. And because the question was so specific, we think that the number is actually a bit skewed. So we think more teens are using birth control than what this survey said because of the way the question was worded. Almost 25% of teens surveyed drank alcohol or used drugs before the last sexual intercourse. Using drugs, drinking, things like that before sex does affect your ability to make judgments. It does affect your ability to consent. So we really don't recommend it. I don't care what Beyonce says. Drunken love is not a fun thing to do. Don't do it. If you need to get high or drunk in order to have sex, you should probably be thinking about why. And maybe consider like, do you need some sort of counseling or therapy for your alcohol or drug dependence? 17% of teens had sexual intercourse with 4 more people during their life. So before they, since they started having sex till now, which they're still in high school, right? Because this is a test for high school students. They've had 4 more partners. I'm not here to slut shame anybody. If you want to have 4 more partners, live your life, have sex with whoever you want, as long as you're getting consent. But at the same time, like we talked about earlier, the more sexual partners you have, the higher risk you are for contracting an STI because the more people you have sex with, the more likely it is that one of them will have an STI. So the fact that teens aren't using condoms and having more partners does increase the chances that these teens are going to be getting STIs. So I really, really recommend if you are having sex with multiple people, make sure you're using condoms, make sure you're getting tested, make sure you're having these conversations with your partner so that you can just protect yourself as much as possible. And then finally, this stat is really important we talk about. An increased number of teens, every time we do this survey, report being physically forced to have sex when they didn't want to, which is not only a troubling statistic because people shouldn't be forced to have sex when they don't want to. It's also the fact that it just keeps increasing. And it could be increasing just because more people are understanding that they were forced against their will. So I don't know if you've seen my consent video, but we talk about coercion in it. And so a lot of times people might be coerced into sex and not recognize it as like a sexual assault or something they should talk about or something they should feel weird about. But they still do feel weird. I didn't really want to have sex with that person, but they didn't force me, but I still feel weird about it. And those feelings are totally normal. And so because we're educating people on these kinds of ideas, they might just be recognizing, oh, wow, I was forced to have sex when I didn't want to. And so if that's the case, I think that's maybe better because people are just kind of recognizing it. And the first step is recognizing that we're doing this. We have to recognize we're doing this before we can change our behaviors. So having teens recognize this is sexual assault. This is not okay. Hopefully if they learn that, then in the future they're not going to do it. That's my hope. All right, so yeah, that's what we're gonna end today. Sorry to end on a downer. So unless you guys have any questions, and I can talk about something funny or happy, I don't have anything else to talk about. Catch me out. Me and Lynn are going to be doing another weekly thing. We haven't come up with a name yet. We've been trying to work on a name, but it's gonna be Friday, sometime in the afternoon, early afternoon, maybe like 2 p.m. We are going to put out our next video cast on YouTube. It'll probably be shared through the connection maybe, and it'll probably be shared definitely on our Facebooks. Check it out. I know my article this week is hilarious, and I cannot wait to talk about it with y'all. I'm sure Lynn also has a hilarious article she can't wait to talk to y'all about. So catch us out on Friday. I don't know if we're gonna do it live or not. I messed up obviously doing it live on my computer because again my computer's old as hell. But yeah, so check us out Friday. Have a good one. Let me know if you guys have any topics you want me to cover in these weekly sessions. I think next week I might do anatomy, or maybe I'll talk more about STIs. Maybe how to talk to your partner about them, like how to ask your partner, like, have you had an STI? Have you been tested? How to talk to your partner about, like, if you have an STI, what to say, how to react, things like that. Let me know what you guys want to hear. I can come up with anything, and I'm going to keep doing this, but I'd rather you tell me what you want to hear so I can make sure it's interesting and fun for y'all. And I don't know if you guys have noticed over my shoulder, my adorable picture of my dog as a general. It's dope. He's, General Comrade Ali, so he's cool. All right, enough. Talk to y'all later. Bye.